Hello and welcome to my YouTube series, Asperger Insights. I'm Likens, Autism Ambassador for Easter Seals Midwest, also author of the book Finding Kansas. Well, I was able to write from a first-hand account. I have the diagnosis of Asperger Syndrome, which myself, I got diagnosed later in life. I was age 20, but since then now I'm a public speaker. I've given almost 600 presentations all across the country. And over the course of my presentations, I've started saying these statements of, well, this is the fourth most important statement you need to know about the autism spectrum. This is number 3, this is number 2. And over time I thought, wow, this would make a good YouTube series, which is, well, why we're here today. So today I'm going to start with the 5th most important statement about the autism spectrum. And for this one, this involves sensory issues. It is estimated that upwards of 80% of us on the autism spectrum are going to have sensory issues in one form or another. And when I was young, this really affected me, especially in school, which school, 20, 25, 30 students in an environment. That's a hectic place. I mean, whether it's somebody tapping a pencil on a table, the air conditioner, the heater, 2 students whispering, and well, it was very noisy. But wherever you are right now, I'd like you to just take a moment and just listen. Just listen. You might be at home, you might be at an office, you may be in a school, but wherever you are, just listen. Okay, I'm sure there was some noise, maybe people in the office beside you talking, some noise. And for us on the autism spectrum, at least for myself, I am hypersensitive to my surroundings. And when I was in school, that was a big problem. And this brings us to the 5th most important statement about the autism spectrum, and that we on the autism spectrum may experience life unfiltered. So with living life unfiltered, whereas most people have that ability to filter out, tune out those background noises, for myself, I didn't have that luxury. And in school, I was observant of everything, every movement, every step, every whisper. And I've heard this from my presentations, from parents and teachers, and this applied to me. In school, first 2 hours went easy. Come 11 or noon, I was absolutely mentally and physically exhausted because I had nothing left. It took so much for me to pay attention to what I need to pay attention to that I just became exhausted. I became to the point that I just couldn't really function anymore. And the afternoons most often were wasted. And I would have known this back then. I didn't have the self-awareness. I couldn't have put this into words if I tried when I was in 2nd, 3rd, 4th grade. But another thing with this is, well, when we do have sensory issues like this, we aren't craving attention. We aren't trying to simply, be obstinate or have problems. It's simply that it is too much for us. And sometimes I've heard people say, well, can't you just get over it? Can't you just man up? Can't you just overcome it? And that's not the case. It is simply whatever the sensory issue is, it is too much for our brains at that point in time to pay attention to. Now, another aspect that this happened with being life unfiltered was Thursdays. I learned the patterns of my school's fire alarms, and for me, well, for most people, I don't think anybody really enjoys the sound of a fire alarm, but for myself, it created a sensation of pain. It wasn't just uncomfortable in my ears, it was felt everywhere. However, because I was experiencing this, I thought everybody else had these same difficulties I did. And I'd look around the room and nobody else ever looked like they were in any pain. So I never spoke up about it because in 2nd grade, nobody really wants to be the wimp of the class. And I could only draw 2 conclusions. I was either really weak or everybody else was really strong. So I never let anybody know the difficulties that the fire alarms created. It is known that people on the autism spectrum, we may resort to a behavior to get out of activity or task. And for myself, I learned the school's pattern of the fire alarms. If we were going to have a fire alarm or fire drill, it was always on a Thursday. So my goal, not to be in school on a Thursday. Now, I did think about misbehaving to maybe get out of school, but I am a rules follower, so that really wouldn't work. So I had to get crafty, I had to get creative, and what I did, I became a very good actor. And eventually I was nominated in the categories of Best Actor for Best Headache, Thoracic Stomachache that didn't exist. Oh, I put on some award-winning performances. But eventually my dad learned when I was and wasn't sick, so I had to upgrade to stage 2. Thermometer, coffee, Works great to have a fever in the morning. Until you press your luck and you show your dad a fever of 107.7, and at that point in time you lose all credibility. The trick never works again, and in the future, even when you are sick, nobody believes you and you get sent to school anyway. So if you're a student, learn from me. The trick may work one time, it will never work again. But that was my way. I couldn't say the fire alarms were bad. That was my way, my behavior to sort of try to get around this life unfiltered, because at the time I couldn't speak up what was going on. So this has been statement number 5 on my countdown of the 5 most important statements on the autism spectrum, in my opinion. But next week we will start looking at social issues, which will be statement number 4 as we progress onward. Thanks for watching. It means a lot to me. Be sure to share this, and if you liked what you saw, be sure to subscribe to my channel or follow me on Facebook, Aaron Likens. It means a lot. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.